Right, Aisling Maloney, if I, as I did this morning, walk through the Dublin Central constituency, I will see posters up on lampposts because the by-election campaign is now officially on, and we've got these two by-elections in Dublin Central and Galway West on May the 22nd. But let's talk about one candidate who is bound to get a whole lot of attention again, and that is Gerry Hutch, who came very close to becoming a Teach Dáil in the general election. He's back on the campaign trail in Dublin Central. He spoke to our colleague Ali Bracken at the weekend, talking about his political and world views. Can you tell me then, what is he saying are the issues in this by-election?
So interestingly, I suppose, Gerry Hutch came out and trying to express his mandate or his manifesto, but I think what's glaringly obvious from listening to him is that he doesn't really have a specific set of policies or things he's campaigning on in particular. And he talked about kind of this overall message that he is not going to put pamphlets in people's doors, pieces of paper with promises on them that he said that would they throw into their green bin. So he obviously is environmentally conscious voters, he thinks, but saying that he's going to do his best to get in. He's not going to make promises, and he's not going to say anything that he can't fulfil because he'd be telling a lie. And this is kind of the overall narrative of him maybe being this anti-politician type, something that we see over in the US Donald Trump has mastered, saying, you know, I'm not like them, I'm different, but very much not being specific on the policies or specific things that they want to achieve maybe when they're elected to the Dáil.
I don't make promises that I can't keep. I can say now, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and when I get in, I probably won't be able to do that. And then I'll be as bad as the people who are in there after making promises that I can't keep. So I'm not going to make a promise to nobody. I'm going to do my best to get in, and when I get in, whatever they want, I'll be doing it for them. And I'll be their eyes and ears in the Dáil.
So he talked about broadly the cost of living being an issue for people, and, you know, saying that the people that run the country, politicians, as I said, this kind of anti-politician message, they don't have an issue with cost of living. They have enough dough, he said. He also talked about healthcare being another issue, waiting lists, etc. And he talked about how he had a leg injury in himself, and he went to the hospital in Spain and he got the job done, he said, in 10 days. So he talked about, I suppose, that being an issue for people in his constituency, and he said he was going to be a TD for everyone should he be elected, talking about this constituency in the realm of the fact that it has the northeast inner city, which would be seen as a more socio-economic disadvantaged area of the city, and then you compare that with areas like Cabra, which is very much up and coming, a lot of very nice big houses over there, as well as Stony Batter and Glasnevin and parts of Drumcondra as well. So you're talking about very big divide in the constituency.
It was surprising to me that running as an independent and as a local candidate, he doesn't really have a project, or he doesn't really have some sort of local piece of infrastructure that he wants to see developed or anything like that. And
we see this sometimes with independent candidates, that they might attach to an issue. I know in Waterford, where I'm from, a lot of independent candidates would have attached to getting 24-hour cardiac care in Waterford Hospital. Or, for example, let's say Cathal Berry in Kildare, he was independent and he was very much on the Defence Forces because he was
Barry Heenan, who is a TD up the road, he's actually technically Gerry Hutch's local TD because Gerry Hutch lives in Clontarf. And I mean, he talks about Beaumont Hospital, he talks about stuff on the down on Dublin Bay. So he has a number of local issues. So Hutch doesn't really have anything there in that regard.
No, and well, you know, interestingly, he gave this interview from Lanzarote. So he wasn't in the constituency last week, and says that he's signing the papers in recent days, and he'll be knocking on doors, and he said, and talking to people. So it's going to be a non-traditional campaign. He's not going to be giving you a list of promises, as we said, or a list of maybe a park that needs to be redone, or, you know, traffic issues or anything like that, or cycle lanes or bus lanes. He doesn't seem to have a specific issue that he's running on.
Unsurprisingly, casting himself as an anti-establishment independent populist politician. So he has a dig then at Paschal Donohoe and Micheál Martin, basically.
Absolutely. So in particular, I suppose when, he's trying to maybe have a bit more politics about him this time, I think, than the last time he ran. We saw a couple of campaign videos, essentially, that he posted on social media. One where he's wearing a black and white horizontal striped jumper, so you can question maybe whether that was a good wise choice. But he talked about in that video particularly Paschal Donohoe, who vacated this seat in Dublin Central because he went off to have a new job with the World Bank in Washington DC, and for a huge salary of I think €600,000. And he talked about how before Paschal Donohoe left, when he was finance minister in his last budget, he gave 10 million extra euro to the World Bank, more than the Department of Finance officials recommended. And this is kind of, this isn't like a very traditional style attack ad that other political parties would be sending out press releases about. They'd be bringing it up in interviews. You'd see that kind of messaging from other establishment parties. So he's definitely trying to hone in on something there. And also in particular, he talked about how, Simon Harris, who's the Tánaiste now, but he was the Minister for Health when they brought in the Children's Hospital Plan, which has now obviously we know been severely delayed. I think we've missed 19 deadlines or something in that realm, and has gone into the billions in terms of overspend on that hospital. And he talked about in the interview as well how he thinks Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will struggle in this election. That's no surprise, and it's no astute political opinion, because in all by-elections government parties struggle. I think in the last 33 by-elections since the 1980s, government candidates have only won 3 of those. So that's no, I suppose, astute political opinion that they would struggle.
Nothing really from Gerry Hutch. I thought, here we are kind of 18 months on from the general election, where he was a complete novice, and indeed the electoral system seemed to be new to him. There's nothing major that he's offering this time that you couldn't hear off the average fella sitting in the bar stool.
Yeah, and he hasn't kind of polished up his election machine. Even with the fact that, like, as you said, you were going around Dublin Central, I come in along the North Strand Road, which is like a heart of the constituency, especially that North Inner City area, and I saw posters from the rest of the political field running in Dublin Central, but I didn't see any from Gerry Hutch. Now, that might be he's still waiting on a Ryanair flight home from Lanzarote, I don't know, but certainly, he's not hitting the expected, touchstones that you need for success, especially in a by-election. It's much, much harder to get a seat in a by-election than it is in a general election. He's
trying to claim then that there is a political motivation to arrests.
Yes, so his son, Jason, was arrested earlier this month on foot of an extradition request from Irish authorities for money laundering charges. Now, he's saying that this is no coincidence, because he is running in the by-election coming up, and he says he believes it's politically motivated. And,
so it's important to point out, he claims this.
Absolutely.
There is an a court-identified organisation known as the Hutch organised crime group. Just
it
to point
didn't
that
fall
out
out of the sky, let's just say that much. And he's claiming this. Look, again, that's a narrative that would be very convenient for him to put out there, and maybe that's one he believes he can sell to the people he wants to elect.
He was arrested in Lanzarote, and within 40 minutes it was all over the Irish newspapers, as if they're after capturing Ben Laden. The kid was in a police station a few times in his life getting his passport stamped. Never been in trouble in his life. But the timing is good. There's election coming up. It's nice. Gerry Hutch's son has been arrested for money laundering, and he's getting extradited. He was arrested over here 2 years ago with me and 10 people for the same incident, and that's still going on in Lanzarote.
Then Daniel Kinahan as well. He seems to be suggesting that the arrest of Daniel Kinahan is politically motivated because the government want to show that they are taking action on crime.
Yes, and I suppose like the Daniel Kinahan's arrest has been something that's been on, I suppose, in the ether for a long time, and it was a matter of, you know, organising that or having some sort of organisation with the United Arab Emirates there. And he was saying that he wasn't obviously surprised. This is Gerry Hutch saying he wasn't surprised to hear that Daniel Kinahan was being extradited. And, you know, he said, look, they could have extradited him 3 months earlier. But, you know, Gerry Hutch isn't privy to what's happening.
On what basis? Yeah.
On what basis he's saying that he did not explain. And so, you know, he's saying that the government will try to show that the Department of Justice, the Gardaí, the DPP are all doing a fantastic job, and that's how they're getting Daniel Kinahan back to Ireland. But of course he talked about then, you know, that karma has come for Daniel Kinahan, and I think, you know, he also talked about how he's going to let bygones be bygones, and an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. But I think a lot of people who were affected by the intense gangland violence in particularly the North Inner City may be very upset to hear that it's kind of brushed aside as, you know, all of that back and forth intense violence that, you know, plagued that community could be kind of talked about in this way. So I'd be very interested to see how that resonates.
Do you think it's good that justice is catching up with Daniel potentially? Or do you think
Karma is there. I said it when I was talking to you at the last election. Karma will sort him out.
John, you were in the RDS 18 months ago when Gerry Hutch came very, very close to being elected. I mean, ultimately, he couldn't get a transfer for love nor money. He got beaten 10-1 in that regard in the latter stages when the counts started getting serious. Yeah. The transfers all went to the Labour Party and stayed within the mainstream parties. But nonetheless, we have a by-election. He was the last man standing in terms of candidates running for that who were unsuccessful. What are his chances here?
Mathematically, they're very poor. They're very slight because it being a by-election for one seat, basically you somehow need to get over the bar, which is 50% of the vote. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think, again, he's going to be up against the difficulty of transfers, because where he will have a strong dissident vote, a protest vote, mainstream voters are less likely. I doubt that they will support him. I think, like a lot of these two by-elections we'll be discussing Galway West in a while, a lot of the people out there are more in this for profile for the next one than anything else. And I think that's what he will be doing. I think he will be looking at his vote share. I think there's still unfinished business in the legal system involving Mr. Hutch. I think he will also be relying on that for leverage, saying there they are, the authorities are yet again persecuting me, yet the people on the street, I have large support. So these things are in play. But a seat in this by-election, no, definitely not.
Okay.
He mentioned in the interview with Ali that there were 8,000 spoiled votes in the presidential election in his constituency. That's incorrect. There were 3,754 invalid votes in his constituency in the presidential election. Now, we know nationally there was a massive swathe of invalid votes. Now, you can't call every invalid vote a protest vote, but certainly that sort of a number of national protest votes, you could say, was a trend. But in the 2024 general election in Dublin Central, there was only 273 invalid votes. So counting on whatever this kind of like mystery invalid vote wants, what do these people want that maybe did protest? They may have been protesting against the lack of choice in the presidential election and not exactly saying that they want Gerry Hutch to be their local TD.
I somehow can't see that people who were saying that they wanted Maria Steen to be on a ballot paper are going to suddenly be turning around and voting for Gerry Hutch.
Yes.
To be fair to both parties there in that regard.